What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about things that are free in the UK, but here in the United States, these things cost you money. So, as an American, I am aware that in other parts of the world, you guys do things differently. And I don't know, maybe here in America, we're just a bunch of suckers or something, because apparently there's a lot of stuff that we pay for out of our pocket directly here in America that's instead it's provided for free in the UK. So today I want to take a look at this video by The World to Explore that's going to cover 7 free things in the UK that'll cost you money here in the United States. So let's take a look.
The National Health Service stands as perhaps the most iconic example of a public service that exists free at the point of use in the United Kingdom, but
Right.
requires payment in the United States.
Yes, right. This is the most obvious one, isn't it? This is the one that would come to mind. Healthcare. Although, is it, I've heard that healthcare is free in a lot of other countries around the world, like in the UK. It's provided for free, but don't you guys pay taxes? Technically, you pay your taxes and you use some of the tax to budget for the healthcare and provide it to everyone. Well, anyway, putting the semantics aside, that sounds amazing. That sounds so great. Coming from an American like myself, let me tell you how amazing that sounds. Oh my God, most Americans, we have no idea what most of our tax money is doing, where it's going. If I knew that part of my taxes were going towards covering all of my healthcare costs, that would be such a wonderful feeling. I would love that. Instead, I don't know, I'm sure a lot of people are kind of familiar with the American healthcare system. It's ridiculously overcomplicated. It incorporates all of these different types of healthcare coverage and healthcare insurance and policies and co-pays and deductibles, and if your policy is out of network and you don't have the coverage, and it's enough to drive you insane, really. Let's keep going, though. I could go on and on about this one.
Established in 1948, the NHS was founded on the principle that healthcare should be accessible to all without direct charges, funded instead through general taxation.
There you go. Right, that's what I thought. A lot of Americans don't really know about this option. For a long time, I'll be honest, I didn't know how healthcare worked in other parts of the world. Here in America, I don't know, you gotta understand that for a lot of things like healthcare, we don't even really think about it as strange. It's just the way it is here in America that you need healthcare insurance, healthcare coverage. You usually get that through your job as a benefit. That's a big reason for having a job in the United States, besides earning an income to survive on, is having healthcare insurance. It's a big reason. And going to the hospital or the emergency room and getting a large bill in the mail like a week later, that's just a fact of life. That's just normal and expected. And it's not good, because here in America, we just have accepted this whole system as normal and just the way it's going to be. And I mean, for most of our politics and elections, healthcare is not even that big of an issue that's talked about. Like, this is not even something that's going to change in America anytime soon, because Really, we've just kind of accepted it. This kind of thing doesn't really get talked about much in America, to be totally honest.
This means residents of the UK can visit general practitioners, access hospital care, undergo surgical procedures, receive maternity services, and much more without ever seeing a bill. The contrast with the American healthcare system couldn't be more dramatic. According to the Kaiser Family Foundation, more than 27 million Americans lacked health insurance as of 2023.
And that is, if you don't have health care insurance in America, that is, for one thing, I think that's against the law. I might be wrong about that, but because that will ruin your whole life. If you need medical treatment in America and you don't have health care insurance, look at this chart they pulled up. If you need a emergency gastric sleeve, whatever that is, or a knee replacement, if you get into an accident or you need something unexpected happens and you need emergency surgery, these costs $20,000, $30,000, $50,000. The healthcare insurance that we have will cover like hopefully 90% of that, and you're just sent home with a $3,000 bill, like for a big surgery, like a $3,000 bill or something. That'd be a win. But if you don't have healthcare insurance, like the sticker price of these things, like cancer treatment, $150,000, your whole life would be ruined. Like you couldn't do it. You couldn't afford it. Or if for some reason you could get it done, you'd be in debt the rest of your life. Like that's why in America, there's people I know where they've gotten hurt and people were like, okay, we're going to call the ambulance. We're going to call the ambulance to pick you up. And they're like, no, don't. That's going to be like $1,000. Don't. Drive me to the emergency room, please. I'm okay. And it's like their ankle's broken and they don't want the ambulance because it's going to cost $1,000. It's really kind of terrifying.
Family Foundation, more than 27 million Americans lacked health insurance as of 2023, with millions more being underinsured. The average annual premium for employer-sponsored family coverage in the United States reached around $23,000 in 2023. Even those fortunate enough to have insurance typically face co-pays, deductibles, and those notorious surprise bills that can arrive months after treatment.
Co-pays, deductibles, these are just money. When you go to the hospital or doctor, this is money you need to pay first before your insurance policy will kick in and start helping you. And then there's always some amount that your insurance just doesn't cover, like 10% that it won't cover. That's a bill that you get later. And there's all this stuff.
You believe that calling an ambulance in America requires a financial calculation while you're potentially struggling to breathe? People literally have to decide whether their emergency is emergency enough to justify the expense. There's a telling story about an American student studying in the UK who experienced a medical crisis. When university staff moved to call an ambulance, this student panicked and begged them not to, all because they feared they couldn't afford it on their student budget. While continuing to dial 999, the staff had to explain that in the UK, ambulance services wouldn't come with a bill. What kind of system forces people to fear getting help during life-threatening situations?
Seriously, though, it's just this needs to be talked about more in the United States. Seriously, I think it is talked about more the older you get in America, and of course, when you face an emergency, God forbid, then it's talked about. But for the majority of your life, God willing that you're healthy. A lot of Americans just don't think about this. A lot of Americans have to pay a monthly premium. They were talking about a bill like every month, like hundreds of dollars every month. Like I have to pay like $300 every month for my healthcare insurance plan to keep going, and a certain amount of money to see the doctor. And there's endless stupid little things.
While critics often point out that the NHS isn't technically free since it's funded through taxation, this misses the crucial point. The system operates completely differently. No one checks tax records before providing surgery. No one is turned away because they can't afford care.
Wow.
Medical bankruptcy is virtually unheard of in the UK.
Wow.
Yet it's frighteningly common in America. A 2019 study published in the American Journal of Public Health found that 66% of US bankruptcies were tied to medical issues, including...
I believe that. This deserves to be number one on this list. Like, talk about things that are free in the UK that cost money in the United States. Healthcare. Now, to be fair, if you're wealthy, if you're well off in America, you got money, it's great. Like, if you don't have to worry about the money aspect, the actual care that you get in America, it's fantastic. The doctors are great. Surgeons are great. I've always had a great experience, getting medical care. I've had kidney stones. I've had to go to the emergency room. It's always been great. People are awesome. Like the healthcare people in America do a great job. That's not the problem. It's the money. It's how much it freaking costs.
Both direct bills and time lost from work. How is this even normal in 2024? The second major difference involves university education, particularly in Scotland, where Scottish students attend public universities entirely free of charge.
What? University? So we're talking about Scotland specifically, or is this in the UK, the whole UK? I want to hear more about this because this is a huge one. In America, I had to do this. You have to take out student loans, thousands of dollars in loans when you're 18. You're still a child. Take out loans like you're buying a house or a car. But no, it's to get your education. It's so you can go to college. Because in America, university and college is extremely expensive. Some good schools in America are $40,000 a semester for half a year. And when you're 18 years old, it's basically just an investment. Like if you want to go to college and get a degree as an 18-year-old, you haven't accumulated any money, really, substantial amount of money to pay for school. You can try to work while you're in school, which is tough, or take out loans, which most people end up doing in America.
Scottish government covers all tuition costs through the Student Awards Agency for Scotland. That means eligible students pay exactly £0 in annual tuition fees.
What?
This arrangement differs even within the UK, as England charges up to £9,000 annually for university tuition. But comparing...
9,000? That's not bad. £9,000 per year? That's great. That'd be great. I'd love that. That'd be a bargain in America. In Scotland, it's free? Is this like another thing that's paid for by taxes?
Either system to America shows just how extreme the U.S. approach has become. According to the College Board, average annual tuition at public four-year in-state universities in America reached $10,940, and that's considered the affordable option.
I was going to say, that's pretty good. That's like affordable. If that's per year or whatever, that means you only need to take out $40,000 of loans to get through 4 years of college.
Private institutions charge an average exceeding $39,400 per year. The result? American students typically graduate with around $30,000 in debt, creating a lifelong financial burden right as they're starting their careers.
You get out of college, university, and you're trying to find a job, and you have this cloud looming over you of $40,000 you owe to the government or to a bank.
Let that sink in. Scotland views higher education as a public good worth investing in, while America treats it as a personal financial commodity. A degree shouldn't come with a mortgage, yet that's exactly what millions of Americans face. The third striking difference...
Man, there's just all these things in America. Like, what do we have a government for? What do we even pay taxes for? Like, a lot of Americans don't realize we can use our taxes to pay for education, healthcare. It doesn't have to be this way. Like millions of Americans are suffering every day because of this. It doesn't have to be this way. If we just looked at how other countries like the UK are doing it, and Scotland in the UK.
Difference involves something as basic as banking services.
Banking services. I'm wondering where they're going with this because I think a decent amount of banking services are free in America. I don't.
In the United Kingdom, opening and maintaining a standard current account is typically free of charge. Major UK banks, including Barclays, Lloyds, and HSBC, offer accounts with zero monthly maintenance fees. Customers can set up direct debits, use debit cards, and access ATMs throughout the country at no cost. These aren't hidden special offers or promotional deals. They're the standard banking arrangement available to everyone.
This is not one that I don't feel very strongly about this one. This is not a big problem in America that banks are charging us exorbitant amounts of money. I don't even notice that my bank charges me anything really. So I don't know about this one. This one's not so big a deal.
Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, most American banks impose monthly service fees on checking accounts unless customers maintain minimum balances or set up qualifying direct deposits. According to bank
Maybe I maintain a minimum balance or something because I've never really noticed any fees or you can get charged sometimes for using an ATM or being below a certain threshold of an account balance. I guess that's true.
Rate's 2023 study, the average monthly maintenance fee for a non-interest-bearing account in the U.S. was $5.14, amounting to over $60 annually just to keep money in a bank.
This is what I mean that I don't feel strongly about this. We're healthcare, thousands of dollars in healthcare debt. That's important. College, thousands of dollars in college debt. But $5, $60 a year for a bank, it's like I can live with that.
Overdraft fees in America remain particularly steep, averaging around $30 per transaction. While some U.S. institutions have begun offering fee-free accounts, the industry-wide practice of charging people for basic banking services remains deeply entrenched. How is using your own money not free? It's like they tax Americans just for existing in the financial system.
The bank has to make money somehow, I guess, but they get to use our money and create loans for other people using the money and make money on interest. So the banks are fine. I don't need to feel sorry for the banks. I didn't know this kind of thing was absolutely free in the UK. That is cool.
The UK approach clearly prioritizes financial inclusion and accessibility in ways the American system simply doesn't. The fourth major difference involves medication costs, with Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland offering completely free prescriptions to residents.
Prescriptions are free? Drugs? Joking aside, that's incredible. Because you can lump this in with healthcare. Here in America, prescription drugs is a part of your healthcare insurance coverage. You need healthcare insurance to not be charged hundreds of dollars for drugs that you need if you have a prescription or you need drugs. Here in America, this is a complicated subject, but it's just kind of lumped in with healthcare insurance in America that helps cover the price of drugs. So I think they mentioned Scotland, Wales, and what else did they say?
Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland.
Northern Ireland. I guess England is different with this.
Offering completely free prescriptions to residents.
Wow.
These policies were introduced progressively. Wales in 2007, Northern Ireland in 2010, and Scotland in 2011.
This is incredible. There's a lot of Americans who rely on their prescription drugs for really important conditions. And it's so scary in America because if you lose your job, you don't just lose your income, you lose your health care coverage. And now, on top of not having a monthly income, your prescriptions might go from $5 a month to $250 a month because your plan was covering most of it. It's really terrifying. So the idea again of taxes covering all these healthcare costs in the UK, it's really incredible. And I don't, because this is normal in the UK, I don't know if you guys even know how great that is and how stress free that would be. I think so many Americans are so stressed day to day worrying about this kind of stuff.
The explicit goal of removing barriers to medication adherence and improving public health outcomes. Even in England, where prescriptions aren't entirely free, the cost remains fixed at approximately £9 per item, with
Oh,
broad
wow.
exemptions for children, elderly people, pregnant women, and those managing certain chronic conditions. The situation
Unbelievable. Incredible. Incredible. I applaud you guys. That is what a fantastic system. Truly, truly. I don't understand why we don't do stuff like this. I truly don't. Well, I mean, one of the answers is here in America, healthcare is a business. Drugs is a business. There's pharmaceutical companies and hospitals that make lots and lots of money off of this stuff in America. And they have a lot of influence in America, these corporations, and so they don't want our system to change. They make billions of dollars off of something that everybody needs. It's not like a hamburger. It's not like a pair of pants where you can choose if you want to buy it or not. You need health care. When you need it, you need it. So it's really preying on something that every human being like has no choice but to accept these charges here in America.
couldn't be more different in America. Prescription costs in the U.S. are wildly variable and often astronomical. The Commonwealth Fund reported that in 2022, the United States had the highest per capita pharmaceutical spending worldwide, with the average person paying over $1,200 annually for prescription medications.
See, that hurts to hear. I knew it was bad here with the prescription drugs and the healthcare costs. I didn't know we were like number one in the world for prescription drug charges. That hurts.
The price of insulin has become particularly infamous. While a vial costs about £25 in the United Kingdom, Americans might pay up to $300 for the exact same product. Just trying to stay alive shouldn't bankrupt you. But that's exactly what happens to many Americans who need ongoing medications. The UK system reflects a public health approach, prioritizing access to necessary treatments, while the American model remains market-driven with pharmaceutical companies wielding enormous influence over pricing. Cultural access represents the fifth area where the UK provides free resources that Americans typically pay for.
Cultural access. What does that mean exactly? How is that free?
Major national museums across the United Kingdom, including the British Museum, National Gallery, Natural History Museum, Museum of Scotland, and dozens more, offer free general admission to their permanent collections.
Cool. That's really cool. You guys have literally free access to cultural experiences, like a museum, stuff like that. Heritage sites, stuff like that. Okay, whereas here in America, of course, in typical American fashion, we charge for the privilege of seeing literally American history that we should all have a right to.
While they may suggest donations or charge for special exhibitions, the core cultural treasures remain open to everyone regardless of economic status. Contrast this with America's leading cultural institutions. The Museum of Modern Art in New York charges $25 admission. The Field Museum in Chicago demands $30 per adult, and similar fees apply at most major museums nationwide.
I mean, when you step back and just look at the facts, in America, we charge for everything. Everything is just another opportunity for somebody to make money. And you know, in America, capitalism and free markets and businesses is a great part of our country. And it also can be taken too far, like with a lot of these examples.
Some American museums occasionally offer free days, but these represent exceptions rather than the standard policy. Why should curiosity come with a cover charge? The UK approach recognizes cultural heritage as belonging to everyone, while
Yeah.
America has largely commodified access to its artistic and historical collections. Putting a
Yeah.
price on history effectively creates knowledge gatekeeping based on economic status. The
Yeah.
sixth and final
True.
difference involves access to nature through national parks.
Ah, our national park. We have national parks. I haven't been to many of them at all, really. But I'm not surprised to find that they cost money. And let me guess, in the UK, you guys can enjoy literally the nature, the natural splendor of your country without being charged for it, huh?
The United Kingdom's 15 national parks, including the Lake District and Snowdonia, remain open to the public completely free of charge. While
Wow.
visitors might encounter parking or specific facility fees, there's no general admission charge whatsoever. People can simply enter and enjoy these protected natural landscapes. This policy fundamentally reflects the belief that nature should remain freely accessible to everyone,
Yeah.
regardless of economic
Yeah,
status.
of
The United
course.
States boasts an undeniably magnificent national park system, but access typically comes with significant costs. As of 2024, entrance to iconic parks like Yosemite, Yellowstone, and Grand Canyon cost approximately $35 per vehicle.
Again, it's not the end of the world, but it's just when I see it spelled out like this so plainly in the UK, access to national parks is free, access to museums is free. This is free. This is a right. This is a human right. This is a guaranteed human experience. It's like, and then you just see time and time and time again in America, every little thing costs money. Nothing is free.
Visitors can purchase an America the Beautiful annual pass for $80, but even this represents a financial barrier for many families.
Yeah.
While these funds contribute to maintenance and preservation efforts, the fees inevitably discourage frequent visits, particularly for lower-income households. Additionally, privatized concessions within U.S. parks often result in inflated prices for food, lodging, and guided tours, whereas
yeah.
the UK generally
yeah.
maintains a more open, less commercialized approach to its natural spaces. When did seeing a mountain become a luxury? The contrast between these systems reveals
Seriously. When did seeing a literal canyon in the ground become a commodity that we are buying and selling?
fundamentally different philosophies about who should have access to natural heritage. These 6 examples highlight dramatically different approaches to essential services between the United Kingdom and United States.
And there you have it. Why did the title say 7 things? There were only 6. That's okay. That's not the point. This was a great video. It was very eye-opening. Very eye-opening. I think every American should have to watch something like this to truly understand what we're doing here in the United States compared to the UK and other places around the world. We pride ourselves on being free speech and being open-minded, and yet we never consider the possibility of changing our fundamental systems like healthcare and college, university, and the really critical stuff that's sending thousands and thousands of Americans into debt, ruining lives, and we never even really talk about this stuff in America. It's really quite baffling. This was a great video, actually, the more I think about it. It was a great video to watch. I got a lot out of this. It kind of made me a little sad for the United States in a way, because I know a lot of this stuff is just not going to change anytime soon. It's just not. But it was really cool to learn about the different ways you guys do things. So anyway, if you enjoyed this, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment with your thoughts on things that are free in the UK and how they cost a lot of money here in America, and just how different it is that these public services that are so different between America and the UK. That'd be cool to hear about. And if you're interested in more videos like this, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.